Welcome. Welcome, everybody. We're there again, once more with another show, you know what I mean? Welcome to another episode of Creative Always Be. This episode is called Creative Always Be Doing Photojournalism. Gladstone Taylor, a photographer who has been owning his craft over the years and becoming the best photojournalist. He works at Gleaner or Jamaica Gleaner, where he does a lot of work in the field, but is also but have also shot for Getty Images. Let's not give it all away. We want to talk to Taylor to try and understand more about what a photojournalist is, like what a photojournalist does, and what's the process. So let's check out some of his. Yeah, so we're basically at the way I go through him IG and kind of see the work that he has posted on his IG. Um, Photojournalism work. Basically football. I have some couple of personal picture in there and stuff like that, but we are gonna slide past the personal pictures then. Here is basically setting up something for a live stream. He's on a project right here. When the first Corona batch came in Jamaica, he was there, using basically a 360 camera. This is basically some of the pictures from the first Corona batch. Oh no, this is the persons who came from Cuba to support Jamaica. You know what I mean? That's an aerial shot. You know what I mean? More athletic shots, sport. So basically, as a photographer or a photojournalist, he capture a lot of stuff around the field. But I am not the photojournalist, so we'll basically have Taylor talk about it. So, wagwan, my brother. Wagwan, Taylor. Everything
Problem,
good?
triangle. There. Yeah, mama there. I'm good.
All right, then. So, as I say, I am not the photojournalist, so I am not the one to be talking about what a photojournalist does and, the process. So, what I normally do when I start the show is that I normally ask the guests, like, how did they get started? Like, where did they started in the creative field, so to speak? So, I want you to give your take. Where did you start as a creative?
All right. I guess this sort of date back to like high school days. Like Key Club. I used to actually do a bunch of what do you call it? Photography for their projects whenever they have Key Club projects. So I got interested in photography from that standpoint. But in terms of like really starting to push the envelope, I believe that might have been in 2003. I got my first DSLR, traded up from. Remember, remember those Fuji Fine Pix cameras that me and you used to shoot back in the days, bro? The S9000.
Yeah, man, I remember the Fuji, because
Right,
remember says a Fuji me start with, so you know
right.
what they say really
So
there.
moved off from that and then got my first DSLR and dabbled into fashion and portraiture and so forth and then eventually pushed across to journalism.
Okay. So basically, you would consider yourself a rounded photography in terms of the amount of different things that you have dabbled in as a photographer, coming up basically in the game, and you started out shooting, as they say, I mean, I look a bit of here, I look a bit of this there, I look a bit of there. I know you did some weddings, and I
Right,
mean, you did a
fashion,
lot of,
wedding.
yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
different type of photography. So how would you say you end up as a photojournalist? Because how did you get that opportunity, so to speak, when it comes to doing photojournalism?
All right. So before that, I was a web application programmer for the Gleaner company. for the Gleaner Online. That's their internet arm, right? So I was doing that for about 5 years, and in the latter part of it, just wasn't interested. And I upped and decided that, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't know where I'm going the next, but I resigned. Handed in my resignation letter. Manager was like, I saw this coming. Um, I mean, I'm sorry to see you go, but I wish the company could still work with you in some way or sorts. And I said, well, trying to branch out into doing my photography thing. And she was like, um, they just had a photographer migrate a couple weeks ago. As in, she left and they haven't filled the spot. I'm gonna see if I can put in a word for you because you're a really good staff member. And at the time, the chief photographer was Norman Grinley, this brown guy. I don't know if you've probably seen him about the place. Anyway, he looked through my portfolio. I think I used to use can't remember what his name right now. But anyway, he looked through my portfolio and he was kind of impressed with what he saw. But the truth of the matter is, none of what was there mattered to him from the standpoint of it wasn't journalism. So yeah, I had an understanding of exposure and lighting and timing, but where photojournalism was concerned, I had no clue. So he basically took me on the whim of I'm trainable. So he just gave me a shot and everything else kind of fell into place from there.
Okay. So basically, you had 1 foot in basically at Gleaner, so that helped you to get basically the photojournalism or the photo journalist area. So you were doing
Right.
programming at first, and then you, you
Right.
you went from programming to start doing the photojournalist over at that side. You know, Gleaner and a lot of these publication work, they have different departments. So technically, you move from one department to the next department.
Yeah, as in opportunities like that exist, people can, apply or express interest in doing something else.
Okay,
Mm.
cool. So, and as I say, you're basically going there. You know, photos. You just shoot different type of thing. But you went in there not really understanding photojournalism. So, what I want you to explain to the audience is what is photojournalism? What's the difference between being a photojournalist or being a wedding photographer or being just an event photographer? So, explain what a photojournalist is so that the audience can basically understand what's the difference between the two.
It's a responsibility. Um, it's truth. It's the moral, like, principle of sharing what actually occurred and not, you know, forcing it to be something else. Because there have sadly been cases of that in on the international scene that I know about. I don't know about any local issues, but the responsibility of the photojournalist is to produce or document what is actually occurring and provide that to the public. And at large, the diaspora for us in terms of we have the readers locally, international readers, and Jamaicans abroad that want to see what's happening at home.
Okay. So what
Mm-hmm.
may I hear from you basically is that a photojournalist, when a photojournalist goes out and pick up their camera, they should be capturing what is happening. So, for instance, like a cow lit down a truck, which it should be the other way around. So the truck lit down the cow, and you go on the scene, and a man goes a woman and make it seems like a him and the cow did a war and him butt down the cow. You cannot have this man
Accurate.
hold the cow on and I say, yo, and me butt down the cow in and get the cow feet in the ground in and rotate, you know. You have to go there and find out, investigate, say, yo, what really happened? And then you try
Right.
and capture that in your image where you show the cow, show the truck, and show, say, yo, some form of collision did go on, and
Storytelling.
that made the
Yes.
cow
Yeah.
do this, and that made the truck do this. So that is what your work is, or a photojournalist's work would be to go there, capture, and capture in such a way that it tell the story of what
Precisely.
really happened, not what you want people to think happened, but
Or
what
what would be
exactly happened, or what
yeah,
you the information, because sometimes you'll
right.
get lies, so you can only work off of information where you have. So
Truth, right.
basically, you just try to capture what you think happened. If you were on the scene, no, you don't know what. But if anybody on the scene, the people them get the information, it's all right. They make a try to capture this in my
I mean,
photos
we still
if you see it
research,
work.
we try to investigate to find out what exactly it is that took place. But
Okay,
yeah, you're right.
okay.
It's pretty much documenting what's actually there and even
Okay,
from there.
okay, okay, okay. So now that we understand, now that the audience and myself understand fully what a photojournalist is, now is there a body that govern this photojournalistic work, or is more like a self-governed thing? Like it's more about your morals, your you wanting to make sure that you're always telling the right story. Okay, if it's governed by yourself, people are gonna use bias and all these things for kind of almost shift what the image is. So, is
Hmm.
there a body internationally, locally that say, all right, then these photos does not represent what's true in terms of what was happening, and then you decide say, oh, me I go basically we're gonna penalize this person because he never tell the truth in these photos. So is there a body
Hmm.
that deal with that?
All right. From an award, I mean, I'm not going to try and speak as if I'm the authority on that aspect. I'm not sure locally. To my knowledge, no. We'll have the Press Association of Jamaica, but that doesn't necessarily, I guess, push oversight on that aspect of um, journalism in terms of photojournalism. I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that fact. They probably do. I need to double check that. But from my personal understanding of the matter is we all have our own moral compass on how we're supposed to actually operate in the space or the profession. So everybody is pretty much trying to put forward work that is actually true. You know,
Okay, okay.
I'm
So
not sure I hear any Shango.
yeah, man. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
everything good. Is all the setup going? When you not hear me and you still like me I talk, is because of how me set up. But I get what you're saying. So it's really basically up to moral compass in Jamaica,
yeah. I mean,
technically.
of course. Like, so for example, um, photojournalist working at a news organization. So, newspaper company A. Each photojournalist reports to his photo chief, and of course, the photo chief is not going to stand for nonsense. You're not going to bring in any made up stories to, I guess, get that published, and then the organization on a whole faces backlash from falsifying truth or whatever the case may be. So you are bound by other factors other than your moral compass, of course, but for the profession itself, I feel like you yourself owe it and have some responsibility to be, telling the truth with your camera.
Okay, okay. So I'm I say it's more a thing whereas because it goes through so many channels, it's not just you deciding what goes in the paper or what goes
Precisely.
online. It goes through a
Precisely.
system whereas you look on it, your photo chief look on it, the editor look on it and say, all right then, you know what I mean, this makes sense, all right, no make no sense, basically, and then them say, all right then, this might be a little bit too risky, we're not gonna put this out. So it basically have a system that it goes through which helps to kind of govern it. It's not just you as the photographer or the
Right.
photojournalist deciding
Right.
what goes out. You can decide what to take, but you don't decide if it goes out. You know what I mean? That me
There
that
you go.
try to forget if there's a body where
Yeah,
deal
man.
with that. And
Of course. Yes. Yes.
how do you see, especially from a photojournalist standpoint? Have you ever like not locally, because I say yo we never see anything locally where photojournalists you know, call it no like muddy the water. Them kind of almost got them want trick the scene and tell a lot of lies in terms of what they're doing. Give me an
Yeah, I
example
can't.
of that so I can understand what that
All
is,
right.
so we can identify something like that if we see it in the future.
WordPress Photo has a competition. And I think there's been a case before where a photo that may have, if not won the competition, but came like maybe top in one of the categories that the, of course, the award was rescinded as in they took that back. And I'm trying to remember if the photographer in question was sued. I, I really need to double check it. But the point is, there are ways for I guess the people to go about it. But then that's a competition based scenario in terms of WordPress, that WordPress photo example. I can't pinpoint any particular. And then of course, there is the libel issues where if you are painting a particular picture, maybe in terms of a particular person or whatever, that's not necessarily truth through photos, then you potentially have that on your hands.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
So
there's legal matters to deal with.
okay, okay. Yeah,
Right.
that we want to talk about because
Yeah.
we know that when it comes to journalism, whether it be, I mean, radio, television, print journalists, any one of these things, if you say something that you don't really have no what to prove to back up, and a person really can sue you, I mean, and say, yo, yeah, liable, yeah, liable me, I mean, yeah, mess with my character basically,
Yeah.
and
Something can be
people
labeled as
can,
libel.
yes,
Yes.
people can actually sue you and stuff like that. So that is the reason why I'm want to kind of ask you. Now that we understand all of that, the real thing now is for talk about what a photojournalist work now entails. So what is the scope of the work, so to speak? So what you can do, so to speak, as a photojournalist, where being a photojournalist can take you as a photographer, in which locations it can put you, where you need for your capture over there. Can you do sports photography as a photojournalist? Can you do can what type of, so I want to understand the scope in terms of broad scope, and you kind of list the various type of photography that a photojournalist basically can capture.
All right. So, let's see. In some more developed countries, like let's look at the agencies, for example, that would be Reuters, Getty, and so on. They have a system where they actually utilize specialists. So you'll have someone that specializes in politics and like hard news. Then you'll have the sports photographer. Then you'll have the lifestyle photographer. They will have people that are specifically only working the red carpet and the celebrity type of scene, so to speak. So there are various genres or subcategories that you can work in as a photojournalist for, I guess, whichever outlet it is that you work for. Um, Locally, everybody is essentially, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's the same internationally as well. Everybody is capable of doing all of the other facets. So we're very rounded individuals. Um, but some may excel in certain areas. So, for example, initially, where my strength was the lifestyle aspects of stuff because I came across into photojournalism after doing wedding photography and fashion photography. Like I used to shoot a few things for Pulse back in the day. Um, and of course, weddings, as I said, and portraiture, etc., etc. So as a result of that, I excelled in the lifestyle area, and I would do pretty much like the swimsuit editions for the Flair magazine and food photography and that type of stuff. And later on in my career, after being exposed to sports, I kind of started to get an interest in that and started to dabble a bit more, do some experimenting, research, etc. Speak to people that are in other markets to learn from them, figure out how they do things, and started to employ that into my workflow. I would look at the work from the current chief photographer, Ricardo Macon. He used to do some really interesting stuff. And I'd look at what he does, try to figure out exactly how he goes about it, what's his thought process like, etc. But anyway, the point is, you have multiple facets. You can pretty much, I guess, pick what it is that you would like to focus on, but it's not a case where that is all you get to do. So even though now I'm like heavily into sports photography, which sucks right now, by the way, because COVID, there's no
Yeah,
sport.
yeah, yeah.
So
All the events
anyway,
them cancel.
yeah. Even the track meets that keep in, no press. But anyway, um, so even though I do that heavily, you best believe that if some huge news thing comes up and it's required that I'm there, I'm there, and I have to be capable and able to work, and I have to put the same amount of zeal and enthusiasm and effort and professionalism into it as it is, as I would put in if it is I was doing something that I really am passionate about.
Okay, okay.
So
So
in terms of places that it can carry, like for me for sports, I've been to Bahamas, Doha, France, and I think that might be with multiple trips to Bahamas for World Relays, World Championships, and FIFA Women's World Cup. In
have you
terms
ever
of a
done
lifestyle,
a Olympics yet?
no, actually, and that's what sucks because this was my year, bro. This
Oh
was the
my
year, man. Yeah, hold
gosh.
on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Alexa, Ben call. Let me just give me
Let's see.
1 second, bro. You
Yeah,
mind?
man.
Hold
The
on,
man,
hold on,
the
hold
man
on.
Alexa basically running for the conversation. The man Alexa running for the conversation. You know what I mean? I want them thing there. You know what I mean? When they use smart devices and you say certain things, they're like, what's going on?
So a phone call was coming in, so I used it to end the call.
Okay, 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 okay.
All right,
All
yeah,
right,
sorry,
so we're
back.
back on.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, no, this looks like it might be important. I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so you know what I mean? Anyways, in the live world, things can happen. It seems the man I get a really important call, so I'm kind of have to jump off here a second. But as me say, you know what I mean, at the live world. So, in the live world, these things happen. But as I made explain basically is that a photojournalist has a lot of role, especially in Jamaica. You know Jamaica thing go already. We tend to have a lot on our plate. So what he's saying is that he basically gets to do a lot of different things as a photojournalist. He gets to shoot a lot of different type of photography. You know, what I mean, he gets to do news photography. He get to do sports photography. You know, what I mean, a little bit of fashion photography. All different type of photography him get to do so. That's the reason why, if you remember when we look on him profile, and when we go to boom and switch to him profile, we just see all of this where, you know what I mean, you see my showcase all of that, and then I have different style, athletic shots, you know what I mean, my show, basically, this is, I think it was a fire in one of them location there, and then we switch back to me and pass him and him girl, basically I kiss and go back to some other things where I show him real, you know what I mean. Him and him girl again. I think him and him girl did go on a local trip, so you see I hold that a football. This him basically capture Shelly and Fraser with her son in the flag. You know what I mean? So this is the female football thing. So as I can see, him capture a wide variety of things as a photojournalist. So as I say, photojournalism is a art, so to speak. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say, if you look upon him real, you can see the difference in how him capture. So, you know what I mean? The man is back, so we are gonna basically jump back to him, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Taylor, still see you back, you know?
Yeah, so sorry about that. Technically, I am, I guess, telecommuting. I still have some stuff left to do at work, so I'm doing that remotely. So I call came in to clarify some stuff.
Yeah, man, no problem. I want them thing there. It's alive, and things happen
Yeah,
alive, you know what I mean? It's just me have
that's
to
right. That's right.
make sure, say, yo, me can, you know what I mean? If something happen, me can navigate same way and continue the conversation. So, you were explaining, I don't even remember what you explained
I don't
because
remember where I
it's
was. Yeah.
true,
Oh,
yeah.
right. So, um, I think I was giving you the places that I've been for sports. You're asking if I
Yes,
did
and
the
you say, oh,
Olympics.
2020 was this year for
Yeah, bro. This
Olympics.
was the year. Should have been Japan, but COVID had other plans, man. Damn,
Yeah,
Rona.
COVID knock out everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. In terms of a lifestyle, though, I did get to do a bit of traveling where that's concerned as well. I shot some fashion show for event in New York for the Flair magazine. I have done fashion shoots over there as well for the same publication. I've not done any food aspects or anything like that for lifestyle, but nah. In terms of internationally.
Okay.
Mhm.
So as I say, oh, it is a locally is a wide variety of work you get to do. You know what I mean? You get to dabble in
Yeah,
almost all aspects of photography, so to speak.
which is a huge benefit to the profession. So initially when I just started, I remember saying to a group of friends that if you've already figured out what it is you want to do, I'm not sure if I would head to photojournalism because you end up doing so much stuff that you're not truly interested in or care about, But in hindsight, that was a huge mistake because the exposure that it gave me to so many areas of photography and the craft, I am deeply appreciative of the opportunity to do that, and it has led me to find an area that I am so passionate about, which is sports photography.
Okay, Mr. Yase. So as we said, still is a photojournalism based on what you're explaining is broad. Is almost like you being five different type of photographer or six different type of photographer in one. You know what I mean? You have to be capable of capturing almost any style of photographer. So you cannot be specialized, so to speak, especially in locally.
I mean, you can be specialized. It's just you have to be open to and able to do the other things as well.
Yeah, but that means you're not specialized. So them can't link you and say, oh, all right then, we wanted to shoot some news today. And you're like, but I want to do sports.
Oh,
What are
so
you
in terms of
calling me for?
okay, I follow your point. But what I'm trying to get at is it doesn't mean that you yourself as a photographer though can't have an area that you key in on and like, yo, this is my baby.
Yeah,
This
because
is my
and
thing.
why I say that, you know, I mean, bless him soul, Brian Cummins, you know, one of the
Yeah,
top photojournalists who specialize to me in sports photography. But me usually see Brian Cummins at
everywhere.
events taking pictures.
Precisely.
You know what I mean? So that is what it entails. Even though him is basically a sportsman, him known for that. But
Mm.
him take picture of a lot of different things, you know what I mean? So I definitely understand what you mean as a
Yeah.
photojournalist and the wide array of things that you have to do. Now, as I say, locally it's like that.
Mm.
Um, have you ever thought about, like, as I say, you don't know what it's like in probably like in certain international place, but you know what it's like in what India you said, where they have
No,
specialists.
no, as in I was saying for the various agencies, so like AP, Reuters, Getty, they have a model where you have guys that shoot strictly sports, or you might even have people that shoot strictly football. Like they have subcategories of specialists, so to speak.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
everything
So
is like very tailored.
they're still photojournalists, but
Sports
these guys
photojournalists.
just focus on one specific area.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay,
So they
okay,
have
okay.
specialists employed to their outfit. So you'll have the news guys, the politics guys, the football guys, the basketball guys, and they get very detailed with the categories. But best believe that those guys are producing like world class imagery from their various categories. So I guess that's the trade off or the benefit in terms of trying to procure a specialist.
Okay, okay. So basically,
Right.
they're saying, listen, we want to have the best person shooting photos for football. So, a sports photographer, we want the best sports photographer to just focus on sports. So, we get the best shots, we get the best angles. We want a person who deal with red carpet photos to get the best shots, the best. So, they rather for work on the persons who are getting the best shots than to focus on a person who is all around and say, yo, he might get the shot, he might not get the shot. You know what I mean? He was just an all around and
But I mean,
everything.
right. But at the same time, I can't remember which news agency it was, but since COVID, I think the guy may have been a sports photographer, and he was working on. He was supposed to. He's there for an event. It's his first event that he was getting as a sports photographer, right? His first assignment, and because of COVID, everything shut down, so nothing happening, and they pretty much quarantined him to a hotel. Nobody can really leave the hotel, and eventually he just had to understand that his assignment has now been shifted. He is now a news photographer and he's covering a news event, and he has to document the situation that's happening and unfolding in the country in the early days of the pandemic. So even though they have specialists, I'm pretty sure in any particular scenario, they're aware that they're quite capable individuals, and where the need arises, they will be able to produce. So at their core, even though a person that's a specialist, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to, provide whatever else is required.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you say, cause I think I saw that story too. I think it was one of those countries where I think it was probably like China, one of them countries where
Yeah, it was a
him
video.
flying got here and then him supposed to
Yep.
do some sports stuff and him get up the pandemic, and after I'm reaching the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic him like, we're gonna do this, and then him now start to document what was going on
Precisely.
as it related to the pandemic. But it's a very interesting feel to be in. You know, I mean, as I say, it's a wide variety. Now, let's speak a little bit about you, because I really see you dabbling a lot now in almost diversifying the content that you create. So, as a photojournalist, you create photos, but you're also now creating more videos. So you go
Mm-hmm.
on set, you put on the 360 camera, you have the 360 camera capture some stuff, and you kind of get that energy. Or you're also capturing photos and videos sometime. Why is it? Is it that because the media is now changing and video is
Precisely.
more, I call it more relevant now? Why you are capturing almost photo video on projects now?
Yeah, so my current position at the outfit that I work at is the multimedia photo editor. So we have to acknowledge that things have changed, and it's not just still that's important. So you have to give the same type of energy or priority towards video content. Yeah. So as a result of that, pretty much any assignment that I take on, I assess it. I figure out if there's any leads or interesting angles to come at it from a video perspective. And I really have tried, as you said, in recent times to, I guess, include various types of media into the arsenal to create that multimedia output. So from 360 cameras to drones to, I use my iPhone a lot. Majority of my assignments I actually shoot the video with my iPhone, and I'll stabilize some of them with a Osmo gimbal for a particular look and experience for the viewer. But yeah, the idea is, with how media has changed and how people like to ingest their content, you can't ignore video. You can't.
So basically, I want to say, yo, this is a very peculiar, as far as we see it, feel, and we know that media kind of has shifted, and you know what I mean, a lot of persons are more diversifying their content. A little small video sometimes tells a better story than
Precisely.
a photo, because you actually seen what happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like somebody capture a photo now and you have to almost dissect. You know what I mean? A photo tells 1,000 words, but the 1,000 words that it's telling basically is your interpretation of it. While videos also tell a story, but videos leads to more, is not more of an interpretation, because you can interpret a movie and interpret basically anything, but from a journalism standpoint, you are basically looking at the video and saying this is what is happening in the video, and that is the reason why you, I would say, you capture videos on it also. And as I say, some person want the video because they believe that it tells the story much better than if we just see one photo of a man lying down on the ground versus you have a video of a car lick him down, because a man lying down on the ground, nobody knows why he's on the ground lying down. But if you show a video, say, yo, a car did lick him down, and that's the reason why I'm lying down on the ground, you get the context. So the video kind of helps with the context. So is it that you're being pushed as a photojournalist to do more video than photos, or is there a balance, so to speak? Like them say, oh, all right, then we know you have photo, you got to go shoot photos, but we need the videos to balance it. Or is it that because new media, which is, you know what I mean, the social media, the new media basically, not traditional media, has shift media so much that the traditional media have to be putting their self, so to speak, at a position in the new media, so they are not left behind, so to speak.
Right. So essentially, what I had said before, you can't ignore how people are consuming content now. So as a result of these developments, you just really can't afford to ignore the avenues. So I know people that only get their news from Instagram and Twitter. So as a result of that, and yes, we can only put pictures there, but why not give them a more rich or enhanced product, so to speak? So, for example, not to make it specifically about the organization that I work for, but the Gleaner's e-paper, on a daily basis, there are videos embedded in the e-paper. So if somebody covers a story, the story, there's a video interview from the story, there's some video clips detailing what exactly occurred, etc., before, after, da 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 da. Maybe some aerial shots to show what the thing looked like from that perspective to give the person a more interesting or different view of the thing. All of that is compiled, properly produced, etc., and that's embedded in the e-paper for the person that reading the e-paper to just click on and watch the entire thing, finish reading his article, move on. So yeah, it's not that there is anybody, I guess, over anybody's back saying, hey, do this, do that. I'm not sure if that's the case at other places, but we've all, I guess, developed in the profession and realized that this is where the trend has been moving towards, and it would be foolish to ignore it. If you don't evolve, you die. So one of those things.
Okay, okay. So that kind of brings some clarity to what I'm trying to understand, how it works as a photojournalist. And as I say, yo, I still consider it a rich field, because it allows you to do a lot of exploration. And I believe that exploration is super important for creatives. You know, I mean, if you're not exploring, it's almost like you're not growing. And I mean, whether it be that you are exploring in a specific niche, or you are just exploring overall. You know, I mean, you're trying new things.
And that's so
And
important that you touched on that, because I remember being made fun of, so to speak, in terms of I'd be that guy that shows up with a lot of stuff on assignments, right? Like I go to Caymanas Park, and even the people from the stands would make fun of me saying, "What a cameraman there do under the fence?" Or "Why am I set up the camera there? Why not just do the thing with the other photographer them do?" But I was actually setting up remote cameras, and firing them with pocket wizards from across the field so I can get a different angle, or So never be afraid to explore, and everybody should really always be in search of doing things in a more interesting or creative manner.
Yep. That is really it. I mean, exploration is always something that helps you to grow as a creative,
Mm-hmm.
so to speak. So I always encourage exploration, and I mean, whether it be in your specific field or even in other things, just try new things. I mean, even if you're working on a specific niche and you are niching down, you're getting more diverse or you're getting more narrow in that specific niche. It's still important for you sometimes even explore. It's almost like if you're a businessman, you're just reading business books. There's a lot of things that you're missing that you're not reading in other books. I mean, read some fantasy, read some romance, read some different thing, because you might find something about business in one of these romance book where you never realize, oh, what I mean? Even though a romance man
Yeah.
talk about, yeah, so it's really a business idea or a way, a mindset that you should use in business. So when I hear a person like explain that, people always are like, yo, why you do this and why you do things are different? They don't understand that you are basically trying to multiply yourself. Because when you set up remote cameras and you press one trigger and then 5 camera go off and you have 6 different angle, you now need not to move from this location and go over there so go take a picture and go over there so go take a picture and go over there so go take a picture. So
Precisely.
you just stay one place. You don't even have to depend the you can probably even go on what I call it now, a lunch break, and you hear the bell go off and you run out. And you realize you're gonna miss the shot, but you have a remote camera, so you just
Press the
press your
button.
trigger on your phone, and your 5 cameras them where they remotely basically just set off, and you still basically have the shot in the bag where you can use. So oftentimes when you're doing things differently, it always start out as a laugh. So people always
Mm-hmm.
started laughing, and then after a while, they realize, oh, so the difference is why I get him this, and then people start follow. So you must never be afraid to basically do things differently. As a matter of fact, doing things differently is what Apple is about. So
Right?
everything we know about Apple, iPhone, iMac, all the
Yeah.
eyes them we have right now, and eyeglass basically are coming soon. All of
Always
that
pushing the envelope.
is basically because Apple say, yo, I mean, think differently. It's not about how
Mm-hmm.
everybody else think, I mean, just do your thing different. So I'm gonna say it's a pleasure, brother, to have you on the show and all a reason about photojournalism, because we don't get to speak, so to speak, to not everybody get to all a reason with a Brian Cummins or any other other photojournalist. But now I remember the guy named from Gleaner, the one who's specialized in sport, the one who always,
Making, Ricardo Making.
yes, Ricardo,
Yeah, that's my boss right now. That's the chief. He's now
basically,
the
yeah,
chief photo
him,
editor. Yeah.
top photojournalism photographer, photojournalist in the business. I mean, like when we look
Precisely.
on them and the work from Olympics and stuff like that, I'm like, yo, I'm
Mm-hmm.
know them and they enjoy shooting sports. But again, because I'm a photojournalist, him basically me see my events basically I take picture. I know him take picture there, him take picture here. So him understand that there's a scope of things that him basically have a capture, and even though sports is where him love as far as me see it, him not lock himself down to sports, so to speak. So it's good to get the understanding, because at the end of the day sometimes you see persons doing stuff and you don't understand. And this is one of the things we want to talk to you about, like what advice you would have given yourself before you start working as a photographer at Gleaner right now. So that previous basically Gladstone Taylor, where in basically I leave programming and I say, yo, yeah, yo, I gotta try out for this photography thing. What advice you would give yourself or give a young person who wants to be a photojournalist? If you see them today and them ask you for advice, what would be the advice you give to them?
Mm-hmm. I mean, pretty much what we already talked about. Just constantly try new things. Like I think that has been the biggest benefit and driving force behind my developing career as a photojournalist. Just don't be afraid to push the envelope. Ignore the noise. Focus on the work. Immerse yourself into your assignments. Um, talk to people. Let's pay attention to what's happening. I remember a particular photo I got a couple years back of Mike Henry when he brought the train back with his head out the window um, while on the train ride. I was the only photographer that got that shot because everybody else was chatting, and just out of curiosity, I was looking to see what the back of the train looks like. There he was. By the time I raised my camera and got the photo, and everybody else reacts to find out what's going on, he was gone. He pulled him head back in the thing. So just constantly try new things, push the envelope, never get complacent.
Bum bum bum. I see like are those awards behind you? Those plaques.
Oh yeah, that's my PhD awards.
Okay, so let's speak about receiving awards, so to speak. So as a photojournalist, I know that there's sometime like press, what I'm calling press awards. Like,
Yeah, so you have various that you can, I guess, apply to be a part of. You have the World Press Photo, which is a global event. Locally, we have the Press Association of Jamaica. You have Inter-American IAPA, Inter-American Press Association, and you have a couple other bodies as well.
so how this work? How do one I don't understand. Do you submit a photo in a specific
Right,
category?
precisely, precisely. So you they have their various awards, which are for various categories. So locally, for photography, there is just news, human interest, and sports. And you'd submit your images that you would want to be considered for, and the judges do the rest.
Okay, okay. So
Mhm.
how do you identify like when you capture that photo? You know that photo where say
Oh yeah,
yo, everybody I got talk about. Like you capture it, you're like, yo, whoa,
the,
whoa, look
the
at this.
decisive moment.
How can you identify such a photo? Like a photo I can remember right now I would consider one of those photos is when Budgie did come back out jail and he like keep him concert, and
Mhm.
I know I think it's Richard
Mattis,
Mattis.
no Ryan,
Ryan
another
Mattis.
photo.
Yes, so Ryan Mattis had a photo which it was that photo. It's almost like it's almost I don't even know if I explain it. It was just one of those photos where from your seat, say, yo, this is the photo. And I'm sure other people did capture a similar angle or whatever the case may be, but he just got the right angle. And then the next thing is that they weren't fast on pulling the trigger, getting the photo out. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So probably other people did capture similar photos or photos
But
that would have been
timeless.
impactful, but the
Hmm.
timing, like dropping that photo so fast, and I actually had a photo like that once too. I don't remember if you, I don't know if you remember the photo that was going around with popcorn pushing off Rhino off the stage.
Hmm. Oh, that
So
was me.
I was the one who captured that photo, and I was at Sting basically
Hmm.
uploading the photo. So when I capture a photo, I just uploaded. The only thing that I never did with that photo was I never brand it. So I was branding some of the
Uh,
photos, and the one we
through
never
the
brand went like
through the gate,
super viral. I say it went viral. I
through
mean
the gate.
that photo even turned into drawing and stuff like that. So how can one
Mm.
identify, like as a photojournalist, somebody who has a lot of experience in photography? How can you identify when you capture that photo where say, yo, people are gonna talk about this photo, and then what you think about the timing, getting that photo out in the world so people can start, you know, basically consume this photo now and start share it.
All right. So to start off with getting and identifying that right photo on a daily basis, it is a habit of mine that I cannot shake. I, whenever I see things happening, I literally press my thumb and my index finger together at what I like to call the decisive moment. you can always see things happening when it's leading up to it, and you know exactly where and when you're supposed to take the photo. It's something that comes with experience, I guess, but it's something I've been doing for such a long time that I don't specifically know how to describe how I identify it. I just know it when I see it. You're looking through the viewfinder, you see the thing happening based on the speed that the person is going. Let's say if it's for sports, the speed that the person is moving at, the where the background is, what he's about to intersect with if he takes one more step forward. You kind of just start to see all of those elements coming into play at once, and you're able to identify when it's going to be. So I technically know what I have before I look back on my viewfinder. As in, I saw it in viewfinder. I'm pretty much I know I have it. So like, I don't know if you remember that photo with Bolt from the salute, the last, what's the name of that meet? It was Racers Grand Prix, I think. That photo when him come across the line and do the salute. So for me, in camera, I knew I had it. And before I actually
Is this something that you have on your page?
I think I might, but it's so far.
Okay.
Let me.
No man, I'll try and find it.
Cool. Yeah, but so before I even did much else, I was pushing that photo to my iPhone to send back to my photo editor so that they could get that out. That photo went, it got a lot of engagement. So pretty much like you're saying, knowing that you need to work in a state of immediacy is really important. Especially in the world that we have today in terms of how social media is highly ingrained into everybody's I guess, news cycle, so to speak. So you pretty much want to get it on the wire as soon as is humanly possible. But yeah, I mean, you know it when you see it. You just can't always tell that image the second that you glimpse it. It is almost like it call out to you or speaks to you in terms of I am the one kind of vibe, you know?
Okay, I think I found it. You're referring to this, right? This photo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before I did, I mean, I ran after Bolt to get the celebration shots, but I left it pretty early. As in, I left everybody else still circling the track with him so that I could go get this image in immediately because I knew I got that photo.
Okay. Because I'm even looking at some other photos, and I mean, horse racing, and you know, I mean, different type of photography. I was going through and seeing a lot of different type. We're talking about boxing, which is a next high energy sport, which you have to basically,
I love that sport.
Yeah, you have to try and get certain angles and get the expression and all of this, and it's always good to kind of look at the photos them and see what you get and kind of analyze it, so to speak, for kind of see what you capture. I remember shooting a local boxing myself. I never shoot a lot of like sports stuff, but I did some stuff. You know what I mean? And as I say, it takes practice. And right now I'm 100% out of practice with photography. Like I'm not even, when I take up a camera, I don't think photography. Like if I take up a camera right now, I'm not thinking photography. I'm thinking more videography, so to speak. If I take up a camera and I'm a click for one, press record, versus to press the shutter and take a picture. I swear.
They said video is where the money is, bro.
But video is where the money is.
That's right.
It's not really it. It's sometimes, you know, I mean, the passion shift right now. The passion is really in streaming and stuff like that. So the passion shift. But brother, is a pleasure. It's a pleasure for you have you on the show, and it's almost basically the time for, you know, Instagram kick we off and stuff like that. And it's always good to talk to creatives and kind of get their insight, because as I say, it's everybody have a different insight because everybody have a different journey. You know what I mean? So this show wasn't created, so to speak, for the established persons or the persons who are there a long time. It was created to get different insights from different people, sharing basically their knowledge as to what they have experienced over the years, or even if them doing it for a year and them gone a certain amount of success, what their journey has been so far. You know what I mean? And you basically just explain your journey as a photojournalist and working for Jamaica Gleaner or Gleaner Jamaica. I'm not sure which way it did go.
The Gleaner Company Media Limited, bro.
The Gleaner Company Media Limited, and you know what I mean. It's good to get that perspective. You know what I mean. As I say, if a creative who has interest in something like this, sees basically this video and kind of listen it, then we'll kind of get a sense of how one navigate a space or even a mindset, because oftentimes that is what we need to work on, or a mindset. So, brother, as I say, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure for having you on the show. And if you have any last word where you'd like to say to them, just let them know.
Big up, bro. Thanks for having me as well. And I am typically a very serious looking guy on my assignments. I must admit, I get that a lot. But dear me, you can,
Focus,
as in,
focus, bro. You're not serious, you
yeah,
just focus.
that's the thing. That's exactly what it is, right? But ask me anything at all that you might want to ask about the profession or about for photojournalism, sports photojournalism, whatever. Feel free to ask. I'm not against sharing knowledge because truthfully, where I am now is as a result of some people, being willing to take the time to listen to what I had to ask and impart some knowledge as well.
Blessings, blessings for that, brother. And
Uh,
we're now gonna just run the outro, so I'm gonna run the outro, and you can listen to the outro, cause now I'm gonna try and make the outro fire same way. So run the outro, and
cool.
then we basically end the show. So blessings, brother, and thanks for basically giving me a strength and come up on the show and all a reason. So run the
Anytime, bro.
outro now, and I'll basically chat to you after the outro done. Yeah, yes, people. Once more, that was a epic show. You know, what I mean, talking to Gladstone Taylor about photojournalism, and it's a good vibe. You know, what I mean, good conversation. We spoke about a lot of things. And as I say, you know, what I mean, I always end the show with the outro, and this one is a good one by Roy T. Bennett. I've been dropping a lot of Roy T. Bennett quotes for the last couple of weeks. So this one is: success is not how high you have climbed, but how you have made a positive difference to the world. So oftentimes when we think about success, we think about the dollar signs and we think about these things. And what Roy T. Bennett is saying is that success is not necessarily measured in that, you know what I mean? Success is more measured in your impact. You know what I mean? Because a lot of persons had a lot of dollar signs behind them name, and they're not known as Bob Marley. They are not known as you know what I mean? For instance, like Bob Marley, you talk about Bob Marley, you talk about Martin Luther King, you talk about Malcolm X, you talk about a lot of different well-known persons. A person, one of the name them there in my head right now, but I don't know him you know, he's a look slim Indian man, the Indian guy. I can't remember his name. I don't know why I not remember his name. But as I say, success is not how high you have climbed, but how you make a positive difference to the world. And oftentimes, a lot of persons is running down success. They might run on the dollar sign, as I say. And sometimes it's just the impact you need to work on. Try and improve other people's life, or even share some knowledge, because knowledge is what, you know, one of the things now I realize, if you want to impact a lot of people, the easiest way to do it right now is basically to share knowledge, share perspective. You know what I mean? The internet allows you to impact so many persons without even have to have them in front of you. You know what I mean? And I see a lot of persons doing it online. So it's one of them things. As we say, that was another episode of Creative Always Be.